Hey, thank you for joining us. We're talking Louisiana tax deed sales. And whom are we talking? Who am I talking with? Well, that's Ted Thomas. That guy is the America's Tax Lien and Tax Deed Authority. Ted, share with us what you know. What's going on with Louisiana? Is it tax deeds, or do they do tax liens, or do they do both? Fill us in.
Actually, it's tax lien certificates in Louisiana, and
Okay.
this is a big state, but they only got about 4 million people living there, so there's not a lot of people living there. But they sell tax lien certificates, can earn 12%, and then they have a penalty on top of that, goes up another 5%, and they've been doing that for decades.
And I'm curious. I know we were talking about New York a second ago, and we were talking. It's not always called counties. Sometimes there it's boroughs. What is it in Louisiana? Or is it just Louisiana counties? Is that what they call them?
Well, actually, Louisiana came as a state as a result of the Louisiana Purchase, which they owned all the way up to Minnesota in those days. But Louisiana is a state that does a little bit different than other states, and so they call them parishes rather than call them counties. All right, like New York calls the city of New York, they don't call them counties, they call them boroughs. So it has the same function as a county. So if you were trying to find a tax lien or a tax deed, that would be where it emulated from. In other words, someone didn't pay their tax, that county would do something about it. They would say, look, you didn't pay your tax. If you don't pay your tax, we're going to confiscate your property, or we're going to sell a tax lien certificate. And that's what they do in Louisiana. They sell tax lien certificates.
So what's the if somebody is watching as an investor in tax liens and they're looking at Louisiana, what's the process there in terms of working with Louisiana and tax liens?
Yeah, well, Louisiana, it's an easy process. First of all, you'd want to find a list. Okay, so if you didn't know how to find a list, call the county and they'll tell you what part of the website that you can do that. Or if you didn't get it from the county, watch the newspaper and they'll publish it. But they're only going to publish little numbers in the newspaper. So it's better to call the county. Or I'll tell you about an auction list and interactive map later on in this video. But right now, anybody that wants to get involved, you start at the county level. Remember, it's called the parish there. All right. And then now you've got a list, and then you can take it from there and see if you can find something that you want to buy on that list.
And what kind of returns can you get there in Louisiana on these?
You're going to get a generous return. It's 12%. When you compare that with a bank paying 1% to 2% or 5%, you get a 12%, but can have a penalty all the way up to 17%. I'm not prepared to confuse everybody with the complex math, but just understand you can make all the way up to 17% on a certificate in Louisiana.
And in Louisiana, like some other states, I mean, is there a tax sale redemption period, or do you just get the property?
Okay, it's a little different in Louisiana. So I'm going to give you some inside stuff here, but I'll send you to some place where you can get the really detailed information later. But Louisiana, they try to protect the property owner. So when they are selling something, like they're selling a tax lien certificate, they're not going to, if the property owner defaulted, they're going to do everything they can so the property owner can hold on. So when you bid on the portion of the property that you're willing to accept. In other words, you want 100%, but would you accept 99%? So if you accepted 99%, you might get the bid. Another person that take a smaller would get it. In other words, they want you to leave something for the property owner that's there. Now, I know that's a complex thing to think about. The only other state that does that is Iowa. And so you need to do more research on Louisiana. We'll give you the basics here in the video, but that's a complicated process. Not complicated so you can't learn it, but it's complicated to explain, and I don't want to confuse the audience.
And I know you probably explained this in some of your courses you offer, Ted, so let's not go into it now here. But if somebody is interested in finding out more about Louisiana and buying tax liens there, where do they find the tax delinquent properties for sale in Louisiana? Where's the best way for them to do that?
All right, well, the best way I'm partial to, but I'm going to tell people the first place you always start is the county, which they're going to call a parish there. And then you want to start, if they have townships, you want to start. Those are the places you start. And the local newspaper will also have a list of any properties that are for sale. I have created over the years, I've created an interactive map and auction calendar. That sounds complicated. It's long words, but all it does is electronically, you can sit in your living room or sit at your kitchen table, and you can go online, you get into the interactive map, and it'll electronically take you to any county in the United States. Now, there's over 3,000 counties. It'll take you to all the county, parishes, or boroughs that you want to go to, and then you can analyze the property there, and we actually give you classes so you can research every property, because the rules are different in every county and every parish.
Well, that tool sounds like it can save a heck of a lot of time, Ted, because I mean, trying to find a property or trying to, get to a county website, which I'm sure they're all different, the functionality of the websites, that tool seems like it saved folks a lot of trouble, whether or not they're investing in Louisiana or any other state too.
Yeah, absolutely. And all they have to do to get, if they'd actually like to have a sample auction list, they can go right below me, just register and get a free sample, and you can see what an auction list looks like, and you can find out what the dates of the auctions are in Louisiana. Now, there's a ton of things that happen in each one of these states. When you have like Louisiana, 64 different counties. When you have that many different counties, think about it. Everyone is going to have their own rules, and that's what's actually going to happen. So it's not unusual for that to happen, but all the counties in the United States are just a little bit different. So just go right below me, and then you can get electronic idea. They'll give you a demonstration of it. You could do that in every single county in the United States.
Ted, thanks so much. Appreciate it.